Hello. Wrong one. There we go. Hello, good morning. Oh, it is that kind of day, isn't it? I also accidentally left another stream that I was watching right before when I was getting ready on, so sorry you got to hear that as well without being able to see it during the starting soon. As I said, yeah, I did not get very much sleep last night, so I might be slightly sort of loopy today. Forgetting things, all the normal stuff that you do when you don't get enough sleep. Okay, so what are we doing today? I think we have our work in progress. We're applying the gravity. That's what we're doing. We're applying the gravity as we're loading the level. So that way instead of just applying the gravity to the player directly, like the location directly, we want to now start using acceleration and velocity. So I believe that if I do a cargo run here, we'll see the player, which is right now represented just by a circle, fall at I have to go in here. Is that falling? I can't tell if that's moving or not. I don't think that is moving. Is that not moving because I'm applying it? Did I start applying? See, apply gravity applies to the acceleration, right? And we don't have a system to update acceleration. So maybe this would be something like a system like apply physics. Let's just go ahead and get started. This would be basically just, I don't know, update physics maybe. Maybe update forces. And then we'll use a run function. So impl update forces system plug function run. Okay, so what do we need here? We need a world. Along with the world, I don't think we need anything else. We certainly don't need a context. Okay, so the idea here is we have our, we've already applied the force gravity to acceleration. So it's now time for us to start heading downwards. That means, oh, and I think I also want to like update because I realized that my entire system where I'm like converting over from like pixel coordinates, like world coordinate, that I don't think that makes sense either. I think what I want to do is like the world is filled with like, you know, these spots which are essentially are the pixels, but what the camera is that I want to I want to deal with the camera space, and so I probably should think about it in that way. Bear, hello, good morning. So I want to deal with that as well. Let's start with our acceleration. So we need to get acceleration, velocity, and location. So accelerations, velocities, and positions. All right, component names. All right, so we're able to get all of these. Then we're just going on to loop through them. So for index and the position is kind of like the most important one here, but like I don't know if it actually matters. Let's just do acceleration. Acceleration in accelerations, getter enumerate. Okay, so then we have to shadow acceleration and cast it. And then we have to do the same thing for everything else. So that our velocity, all of these are points. Okay, so we cast those. So now we have all those out. So the way this is going to work, our accelerations have been accumulated throughout this frame. We're going to take those accelerations and add them to the velocity. So we're going to take a dereferenced velocity dot. I'm going to borrow this mutably, and we're going to assign it to acceleration, dereferenced acceleration dot borrow. Is that going to work? You're a data wrapper. Well, so far it's working. Also, I don't need to. Okay, so we've updated the velocity. Now it's time to update the position. So it's exactly the same thing. So position, I'm gonna borrow you mutably. And then finally, after we've updated our position from the velocity stays there. But instead we're going to, what is this? The velocity stays there. We are going to zero out the acceleration. So I think the way I can do it is acceleration. I'm gonna borrow you mutably. Multiply scalar 0, 0. So that like sets that back to 0 for this this component or this entity. So if I do that, we're gonna have to run this now. So this is the update force system. So let's go ahead and run this again and see if we get a little bit of better movement out of this ball as it's dropping. Well, it certainly moves. Now we need to fix the the camera stuff. So where is that? So it's our draw. So we have the draw entities here, essentially just like a camera. And I kind of wonder if I should actually rename this. This is like the camera system that's drawing. I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna rename this the camera. And then you're gonna be, instead of this draw entities, you're gonna be the camera system. And then in here, we're gonna do all of this stuff. So basically, the convert world position, I don't necessarily know that this matters, but our camera system does matter because we need to know the camera system needs to draw. Is the camera going to be an entity? Is the camera itself going to be an entity that we can pass through, or am I just tying the camera to the player and that's all I really care about? I kind of feel like separating the camera from the player would be nice. It would free us up to do some interesting things like hand through the level before hitting the player, or if the player dies, the camera just doesn't die too. So I think what we need to do is load a camera when we load everything else too. And how do we ensure that we know that we're talking about a camera itself? Probably have some kind of probably use the marker. Probably use some kind of string to mark that it's a camera as opposed to anything else. So pretty much all of this is going to get thrown away. We're not going to use this anymore. This was just silly. So I'm going to take you, and we're going to deal with you later. Okay, so we need to, in our loader, so this is the level in level, okay. And load, okay, we create the title, and then immediately, wait a second. This selects level loaders. That's not what I want. I want the actual... What do we have here? We have play. Oh, I think it's play. That's what it is. So we're just inserting our, the player into the world, essentially. I'm going to want to insert... let's see, function. This is going to be insert camera. Maybe this will be load camera. We'll have the world. This is a mutable reference to the world. I don't know what else I care about right now. You're definitely going to return a result. Okay, so we know into an insert into world. We're probably gonna have an acceleration. Yeah, points. We don't have a navigate to. We're gonna have a position somewhere, so we can maybe set this. Do we know how big the world is? We need to. So the level is gonna have to have like a width and a height to it. So the level. Yeah, okay, so we have this start where the player is starting. We're also going to have the width and height. So you're going to be an F32. So let's have like a very generic width and height. For our width, let's maybe make this like 10,000. And for a height, I want to make this. I want to make this the height of the screen, like just what we're caring about, because for right now, that, like, I guess, does that make sense? I could make it taller. We could totally just make this taller, but it doesn't really matter. What if I made you, because like, we're 1920 by 1080, I believe. Yeah, we're 1920 by 1080 and a full screen, but eventually I would love to be able to like change that. But maybe the world should, just by default, we'll just do something like we're 2000. This now means that I can access, I should be able to access the level from this. Yeah, here's, okay, so we have the level here. So we need to pass in the level. So what is our point? What is our position going to be? Let's bring this, whatever our camera size is going to be. Now the camera size is going to be the same, essentially the size of the pixels, our resolution. So right now it's 1920. So that'd be 1920 divided in half. So 1920 divided by 2 for our X. And for the Y, I kind of want the bottom of the world like going up. And so our set position here is really, everything is going to be based upon like drawing, hey, give me anything that the camera could see, and then translate that into pixels for the screen. Okay, so our position is starting to the left there. Okay, that's fine. Then I want this position to start down. Let's maybe something will be easier. Let's just start with 0, 0. We're gonna start in the top left corner, but that's gonna be the center of the camera. So that'll be interesting too. Not able to do any of those. We probably have a velocity too. Now, something I'm realizing, how am I going to prevent the camera from falling into gravity, like falling due to gravity? We're going to need to make sure that we're not doing that. Okay, so we bottom here. Let's also self.load camera, pass in the world, and this level. We'll be using that later. This means affected by gravity. So I want some kind of like marker in here by affected by gravity. And that could be another one of these, like just a Boolean marker. So let's add a component name. Affected by gravity. We need to register that. And then we can add this in to the player object, which is right here. Let's also go ahead and create a function for this. A function load player. And then here we can just do a self.load player. Pass it in those things, and then we're able to go ahead and get started. But the big thing here is that we're also going to set affected by gravity, which means we need to update this to like let's see, affected by gravity option Boolean. So in this case, like if I'm setting, no, I probably want this to be true or false because then we can turn that on or off in like really interesting ways, maybe. Okay, so I'm gonna set you that, self, and then in our insert, we're gonna add this in here. Let's see. Okay, so that will allow us to now add those in. So as a player, we're also going to be set affected by gravity is true. And the camera does not get that at all, which means that when we apply gravity, we're going to query for components that have component names acceleration, but also component names affected by gravity. I guess we do care. So affected by gravity. Let's see. Okay, so we do that. We now do need grab the index off of here. Then, okay, so you're the same. So wrapped acceleration, we cast you. Then we're also going to do a let. Wrapped affected by gravity. Okay, so we cast that. Then we can just check to see if it's a Boolean. If it is, then we apply the gravity. So if a dereferenced wrapped affected by gravity, that's borrowed. If that's true, then we add gravity. And so yeah, we add gravity to our y. Okay. I think everything is still working here, but we can't see it because our camera system, I think, needs to be updated now. So we have this here. Our camera system is running. So right now, what if we just get everything and then just run it? Chad, hello! How are you doing today? Usually I don't see you up this early. Okay, so we're gonna have our positions. Gonna just grab those out. And we're just building, like, we're just doing a circle for this. So that's fine. You're sleepy? I totally get you. I had terrible sleep last night myself. So we're gonna start building the mesh. And we're gonna do that. Oh, your cat was whining for food. Yeah, my cat, it was really warm last night, so I only had like sheets on covering my feet, and my cat decided that was the time to like, ooh, let's attack the feet. Even though the sheets are on, it's not enough protection for a cat. She's your early morning alarm. Our my cat doesn't wake me up like when I'm supposed to wake up. She'll start moving around, or he'll start moving around as soon as I actually get up, but he mostly wants to play in the middle of the night, and then either sleep in longer or not. Like, I need to figure out his timing. Okay, so we're gonna get all these positions through here. They love to think there's something to attack under the sheets. Yes, they do. And I'm behind on trimming his nails, his claws. So that also is not good. Okay, so we're getting the index, we're getting the position, we're getting the wrap position of this entity. Now we don't want to do this like entire screen position madness that I'm doing here. We just have this. So let's just draw everything out to begin with, and then we're gonna have to do everything based upon like what we see the camera is at. So like ironically we're gonna draw the camera too as a circle, which that's gonna be interesting. So okay, so wrap position, we're gonna add a circle here. Okay, the point of where this is just going to be our wrapped position. So wrap position, we're going to borrow you, and then to array this, give it that solid radius, tolerance, and it's green. Yay. And then we draw that out. So if I run you, yeah, once again, like all the positions are showing here. And so here's the camera, and there was our player affected by gravity. Something else we want to do before we get too far into this game is set up our in the main library under update. We want to make sure that we're updating timer. I think it's like check update time, remaining update time. No, not that. Timer, check update time, passing this context, and we're gonna lock ourselves to 60 frames per second update. Yeah, that just returns a Boolean. Okay, so this is now it should be easier to create little timings for whatever we're doing. Yeah, like this falls a little bit slower, but okay. Now, this camera here, this camera position is that's just because we set it to be like in the top left. If I want to set this to be just anywhere else, then I would have to tell that in the loaders. So that would be the play. Okay, the play, load player. We have this load camera here. And we also notice that our player is starting at level start, which is, where do I have that? Just like 1 0. Let's set you to 0 0. So as I move our camera over, I want to see, so if I want to move our camera to the center, so like the dot is in the center of the screen, I would expect then this to start on the far left, right? Like we still want, well actually no. Okay, if the camera is starting, I need to go to a whiteboard. Our whiteboard is actually white, so I'm gonna try not to make this be too bright. But all right, here's our world. And then we have a camera like this. So let's say right now, our camera is just on the left-hand side of the world. I want the height, the same height of the world, and the width is just going to be a portion of the entire width of this world. Okay, that's fine. Then we're going to have these circles. Here is our player, and we want them to start here on the top left. This is where I want to see them start. If the camera truly was centered here. Right now, we have the camera also centered up here, like its position is up here. So in this case, if I move the camera up here, this is where I would assume the player, like I would see the player start. That's what I want to do first. And then we're going to move the camera down appropriately and move it back to the corner. Just sort of like to make sure that I'm seeing it correctly. So our camera start. Shabani, hello. Our camera is going to start here at 0, 0. And we're going to move, let's see. How do I want to do this? I want to translate, and let's say I just try to draw everything. I need to translate the camera, or like maybe translate like everything else around by the relative position to the camera so that it draws properly. I think there's something that we can do with the camera here when we get the position. So we have this position here. We're just doing a wrapped array. I think there is some... Oh, I don't know if there's a way to do that if I'm just drawing out all of these separately. Because like I think it's a draw param. I think there's a special like draw param. So if I do graphics... There's like set transform, but I don't think that these set transforms will affect you. Unless that's my point. Unless I don't even need to worry about this. So what is that? What does a transform do? Gets a copy. Okay, I don't want to do that. There's set transform. Sets the current model transformation to the given homogeneous transformation matrix. You must call apply transformations after calling this to apply these changes and recalculate the underlying NVP matrix. And a draw param can be converted into an appropriate transform matrix with draw param to matrix. Okay, so let's try a set transform. We'll give it this. This can be a draw param. So new to matrix. I think we have to do this up here before a for loop. This doesn't return an error, huh? And then I think we have to do an apply transformation. Before we do our draw? Now, if I just do this, I don't think anything changes because I'm not like telling it, I'm not giving like a destination. So yeah, everything's still the same there. But what I want to do is shift where we're drawing to the camera location. So we have the center of the camera location, which we have, I guess, we need to know if like one of these are going to be the cameras or not. I wonder if I need to do 2 queries. Like we're getting positions for like every kind of like standard entity that we want to be drawable. Or like maybe another marker. Then we can find out like which one is the player or not. Let's just say I just do this. We do a draw param new. We send it to a destination. And I just say, okay, I want these to be like a negative 50.0, 0.0. Utsby, hello, good morning. Oh yeah, I did this before, didn't I? But I wonder if it's going to be different because I'm doing like a single draw. So I have a camera struct. I don't think I was using an ECS here either. Is Utsby good? So here's a question: do I put camera into ECS or does the camera stay outside of ECS? I would initially think that like the camera, like everything else, should go inside the ECS. But maybe it shouldn't. Then when we draw, okay, we get all the stuff that we're doing, like all the game objects and everything else. We push a transform. Not sure what your inside the ECS means. The camera is an object that would generally use the ECS components like any other. Right, but this information about the camera, like is the camera an entity that gets pushed in? So like right now, I've put the camera as an entity into the world. But I'm wondering if that's actually a bad idea. And instead I follow this other pattern where I just create it as a structure that lives outside of the world, essentially. Now it would use the things that are in the world, but does it itself live in the world? There's nothing explicitly bad about it. You can have many camera entities buzzing around attached to things in some games. Yeah, I think I've seen some games in which like even, I guess like what was the old, like the old Wing Commander games where you can have like a missile view on like a so when you like fire a missile, you have a little camera that follows that missile as it's honing in. That feels like that would be a separate camera. There's nothing explicitly bad about having, you might prefer to think about having a draw system that refers to the active camera. Yeah, so right now I do have, I renamed my draw system camera, but I think maybe this is, I should probably like, it's probably wrong. It's like the camera system, but it's probably just more like draw entities system. Or just like display system or something like that. If I do that, I would need to query for the camera. The reason for dropping the link was just to remind you of the transform methods. Yeah. And the transform, so they have the push transform. Now I did notice that we can do it like a set transform. That's only if I use one of them, but I do think that we're gonna do a push transform for each of these. That being said, I'm really curious about whether or not this would work. Because I do a separate draw, right? We do a push transform. Self-float location. Then we do draws. And then pop. Oh, okay. So we just do that one. Okay. So we probably just do want to do a push transform. I don't think it's going to be that different of a... Yeah. Oh, that's an option now. Okay, so then you have to be a sum. And then at the end, we do a pop transform. No error, huh? Now, if I just do this to 50, let's just set this. Both the camera, like the circle representing the camera and a player should also shift over. That doesn't seem to do. Oh, I plopped before they fly and draw. Yes. Okay. Do I even need the apply transformations? Probably. I think I do the pop after the draw, right? In fact, okay, so we apply the transformations, then we draw, then we pop. So apply, draw, pop. Let's try this again. So I moved it to the negative by 50. Everything else shifted to the left. So that's... I need to shift like this. I'm moving everything over to the right. So if I want this to be in the center, I just want to give it the location. Oh, half of, did I do this up here where I give it no, okay, I did self.location times -1. Oh, is my camera from the top left? I think my camera was from the top left. And I'm right now thinking of trying to do the camera from the middle. It probably shouldn't matter. But yeah, so my location right now of the camera is 0, 0. I actually want to shift 0 minus. No, that doesn't make sense. It would have to be plus, right? Plus half the width of the camera. So let's just say that it's like 1920 by half. I don't have this like written out in the middle. So 1920 divided by 2. If I do this, that should make them into the center. At least on the x-axis. There. Okay, so that makes sense. That's in the center in the x-axis, or at least, yeah, I think that is. And if I want to like make the other one in the center, for this one we go we're shifting, it's like shifting everything that's drawing by this amount. So it's sort of like taking a canvas and saying like, okay, here's like where my camera is, everything like just moving the canvas around and then drawing. So then here, this would be like, let's say 1080. Now it will start and shoot like super center. Right there. So this is our camera location that we're grabbing from the world. Now I would want this to be translated back. So we have its world coordinates, and now I need to convert it to the screen coordinates based upon the location of the camera. So how am I gonna get, let's see. I need to grab the camera information first. That's probably gonna be a separate query to get like the active camera. Let's just say we're going to use only one camera for us right now, but I can still throw it into the world so we can still like update everything else. Then in our component names, we're going to have like camera. Gonna still register you. Then in play, I guess this is, we have to update you. So, And then insert the component. Okay, so if let sum, it's gonna be our camera, stuff that camera. Okay, so we insert that. Then we head back into play here. And so as we're gaming our camera, we have an acceleration, a position, a velocity, and also a set camera, and you're true. The other one doesn't even get this, which means now I can query for like camera. That would be in here. We want to query for the camera right away. So that. I wonder if I can like use this query twice. Let cameras. So we get that. Then I want to let our wrapped camera be the wrapper of, well, okay, that's just a Boolean, right? We really need like the cameras and like the positions. Camera positions. Me wrapped camera position point. What? How did... There. Okay. Equals the camera positions. Grab the first one. Now, there's a possibility that this doesn't exist. So we should probably just like, if camera positions is empty, we just want to return early. Like if there's no camera, we're done. Okay, so camera positions 0. Cast you. Okay, so now we have this wrapped camera position. Now we can I still like I don't have like a width and height set on this. So it's a little bit harder to deal with there. We have the position. That's not super helpful. But what I can do is get like the relative position to this circle here for the destination. To sort of set what that is. Do I want to do multiple transformations where I push transform many times? So I like push transform to the location of the camera. So like to the center of the camera. And then in here, I want to do another push transform and shift everything to the left by the position of like this entity. What would that end up looking like? We would need, so we have like this all stays the same, but I would need to push. What would it be? It would be the difference. I need the difference between the position of the camera and the position of this entity. Would that be true? You generally use stacks of transforms for dealing with things like local transforms for multi-element objects. So I think what you're saying is that's true. So like right now, we want to do something like this. Now the ball is right here in the center. That's also where the camera is. So if we make this maybe a little bit more interesting, like the ball starts over here, then we move the camera up to here so that we have the one transform like this. And now we want to see this ball transformed over to the right. So slightly below center and shifted over to the right-hand side. For what you're doing, you just calc the position with the center offset and translate once. Okay. Calc the position with the center offset and translate once. Oh, so here where I give this, I could update you at this point. So I create the like the draw position, like the screen position. So like that screen position. Now, what is that going to be? That's going to be our wrapped position. We have to figure out where that is plus the camera position. So I think that would be the wrapped camera position borrow plus the wrapped position dot borrow. This probably also has to be that. Do I not have like an add for point? I did add a sign. I did sub. I did some. Oh, you just need calc your position for the transform push once from the camera position and the size of the camera viewport, i.e. the distance between the camera position and the edge of the visible area. Okay, so you calc your position for the transform push. So right now I'm hard coding this in because I'm just saying like, okay, right now, currently the camera size is 1920, and the width. The width of the camera is 1920, and the height is this, and the camera position is 0, 0. So therefore, the difference between those is just the width, is the half of each of these. And so that's what I'm setting this like single push transform to be. So I think, is that what you're saying? And I don't need to do another push transform for each of these. I don't have like an add to this, which is kind of sad. Like I could really quickly implement it, but that wouldn't work over time. Do I have like an add? I do. I hard coded an add. What was I thinking? Add other. So it's a reference to the camera position. Oh, and this adds it to the other. That's not what I want at all. Okay. So screen position, we're gonna have to clone. So I think I can clone it. I think it influence copy. So I want the camera position. So this is gonna be a dereferenced wrapped camera position. I'm gonna just borrow you. Now I want to make you mutable. So then we want to do a screen position dot add other other is now going to be our, well, I want really to be the distance. Because I don't think that just adding the wrap position helps out here. I need like the delta between it. Because I don't want to just add like the world coordinates of this. So right now I'm drawing this right here. Because its position is 0, 0. And it's like, that's fine at this point. So if I come back into our play here, let's set our position. Okay, let's actually level start. Where's our level? Let's level start this with like, I don't know, 150.0 with y.0. So if I do that, now I would expect this to now shift it over to there. And does that just happen? I don't know if I need to do anything else. Maybe it does. Oh, okay. So hold on. We could just make you mutable. I guess that does work. So maybe I'm just doing it right accidentally to begin with. Maybe somehow I've just got it working. It's shifting over by that 150 and drawing out. So here's our camera, and here's where this is. So I think it is working. Now, I don't want to hard code this information about the camera in here. This is not that great. So we need to have the width and the height of the camera stored away too. So we need the component names, width and height. So if those are components that we have. Now, instead of like width and height, maybe we can just have like a size. No. Because like a size could be just an F32. In case it's like a circle. We could have this be like a rect. I don't like the idea of just using like a rectangle as. A rect size. I think I should just have width and height, and they could be separate entities here, which means we need to register those. So it's gonna be our width, and then our height. Then we're gonna go into our loaders and do the same thing we're doing here. So we're gonna have width, so set width, you're an F32, then set height, you're an F32, so that's fine. Then we're gonna do this same thing here. So if let's width goes that with component names, the width as ref. Okay, and we set that. And then we do the same thing with height. Okay. Then in play, okay, so we have to set up what our camera width and height is for this. So we set that, yes, you're a camera, set width. So our camera width is 1920. Set height is 1080. Now these like eventually need to be settings. Again, I'm still not convinced that it's a good idea for me to have the camera as an entity in the world, and not just like something outside of the world, but reads into the world. But if I do this back to camera here, we can now query. So here's our cameras, camera positions. We'll have the camera widths, camera heights, okay, so we get those. We come back down here. Okay, so I need the width and the height of the camera in order to do this. So we have the position. We also need that the camera. Okay, so we get our width and we get our height. Once I have that, now I can use that to build this. So I want our position minus. Let's just start with like what we have right now. So this is going to be the dereferenced wrapped camera width. We're going to borrow that. And divide that by 2. And do the same thing here. So a dereferenced wrapped camera height borrowed divide by 2. So nothing really changes here. Everything should still be the same. So that's good. Now, if I want to change the position, right now we're sort of like imagining that this camera is set at 0, 0. If we set our camera out farther out here, this is like what we would expect then to like start right here. So we take the start of the level, which is 0, 0, whatever. Now the center of this camera is right here, right? Oh, you made some burgers to sleep in after school. Oh, again, it is the nicest feeling. So we've got you as like the camera center. So what is this? This is going to be half of the camera width to the right, like this. And half the camera down to the left. So is this literally just going to be the opposite? We want to take our position, our camera position, and subtract so take our starting position here. Let's actually go do that. Our position right now, let's just set this to be like 19, 20, that's 0 divided by 2. And y is going to be 80, 0 divided by 2. Okay. So that shifted down. Our position of the camera is down here. But if we run this, I don't think that this is putting in the appropriate spot. This is still showing right here. Imagine if we were taught hexadecimal in school instead of decimal. Imagine denoting distances and other things as hexadecimal values. I mean, like, yeah. Looks a lot like the Imperial system. It would until somebody just did a different type. Like if we all were taught one thing, we'd just be used to that one thing, and it wouldn't look weird. Okay, so I want everything to be shifted by this position, right? So our destination here is this camera width. So what is that? It's our taking our position and adding the half the width. So that would be our dereferenced wrapped camera position borrow. I guess I don't need to dereference this because we're going to do a .x. .x and then plus half of the width. And then wrapped camera position borrow .y plus half the height. If I do that, it's off the screen. Is it minus? No, I don't think I need to do any of this here like this. What did I do here again? Like, I feel like I could draw the values on your schema. Yeah. Maybe draw them on the whiteboard. Yeah, so we're just doing this push transform for like a destination of the camera, but I don't know if that does that even make sense? I guess it does, it worked. For this thing. I don't know where those. I guess the mesh had everything already in it, didn't it? Yeah, on whiteboard I've done is min-maxing a position element with another and drawing help. Yeah, I can imagine that. So basically, if we have this position is, imagine a camera at 50-50 looking directly an object at 50-50 in the world. What are the relative coordinates of the object to the camera? So in that case, it would be 0, right? Like it's exactly the same. So if this position is looking exactly at its position, it's going to look like this. But I suppose moving the camera around is not the right way to think about this, is it? the right way to think about this would be take you, group you, and I'm shifting. You're starting up here like that, and I'm shifting you like this. So we're going to be moving the world around to match where the camera is. So if the camera's position is 0, 0, that would be right now when I translate over by so this would be 0, 0, I think. Is that right? Like if I just set this to be 0 and 0. Yeah, okay. So that's this. Wait, that's kind of what I want, isn't it? Now, what happens is when the camera is like farther this way and I translate, now the camera's position is to the right. So this has happened. So the camera's transitioned over. Camera at 50-50, object at 50-50, result in screen coordinate is 0, 0. How are you applying the camera position to the object position to get the resulting screen position? I know, like, this is just breaking my brain right now. Or maybe I just don't have enough sleep to like actually think about it properly. Like the entire world is moving this way. So I need to right, like 50 minus 50 is 0. And looking directly at it is one thing. Or like, am I just overthinking it? Now look at the old code. So see the old code. We have our push transform. Are we doing more push transforms? In this draw, in game objects? Oh. Yeah, okay. So we're just doing the destination, self that location, so reverse the location of the camera, right? Yeah. It's like of the camera, location of the camera. Which results in subtracting the camera positions from all object positions. I'm just like, I even did this before. Why is this like so hard for me to like think about this right now? So, Why does it result in everything else being subtracted for that too? Because isn't it independent? Or because I'm shifting over everything else, that's why it's subtracting. Because I'm taking this and I'm subtracting half of the width of that, which moves you to there. Or wait, half the width, which moves you to there. That would be adding. So subtracting would be something like that. For half the width. That moves everything else over. So then I guess I don't need to do anything else with it. So if I start here, 0, 0, I guess because GGEZ is thinking about things from the point of view of starting in the top left corner. My position, I need to then do the same thing, right? Because this is like, if we're setting you to be 0, 0, but with the width of like 1920 and a height of 1080. My 0, 0, if I'm saying like 0, 0 minus half of this, that's going to be incorrect. Because I just wanted to start up here in I need to translate like the middle to the top left. Or do I just accept that 0, 0 is the top left for this camera? And then we have the width and a height, which would then make it a lot easier because then I can just transition everything over that way. Like, so in this one, there is no transformation because we're starting at 0, 0. Dealing with offsetting the edge of the viewport shouldn't confuse you right now. It's just another addition to shift the view by half the viewport size. Understanding the camera translation is more important. It shouldn't confuse me. I think I'm probably just thinking about like everything wrong. Like I'm approaching it from the wrong angle, maybe. Like if we have, oh yeah, because, hold on, there's a way for me to, there. If you're over here, so we have this ball over here, and I want to move the camera to the right. And like catch it as it's moving, and this like pans to the right. We're going to be adding a velocity to the camera. So let's say that in play, our camera velocity has an X of like 5. So that's going to move into the right. To clarify in your mind, what's my goal? Following the player with some boundaries. Basically, yeah, like having a camera that's drawing everything that it can see to the screen. And we have a world that's larger than what the camera can see. So making sure that like whatever is in here. So let's imagine that this is the player, or like this is just something and I want to pan across. It's falling down. and I'm just going across like this as it falls. If I do this, like we start here and this is fine, then I get to here, then here, then here, then here. What's happening is this needs to transform slowly over time. So the camera will be following the player. Essentially, yes. I'll be able to like add the velocity of the player. Like I'll set the velocity of the player to be the velocity of the camera, essentially. So I want to do that. The camera position is updating. That's fine. The world is moving to set the player within a camera's boundaries. Yeah, that's the other thing. Is like I don't want the world to actually move. Like the world is just doing its own things, and the camera is just a lens looking into it. Like it is really just like this, but when I'm doing the transform, that's as if I'm just saying like, hey, GGEZ, transform the entire world by whatever this camera location is. So if we have the location is now, I don't know, like 2000 by 0. Well, I guess like, okay, if you're 2000 and you're also going to be this like half of 1080, which is what, like 490 or something like that. Oh no, it'd be like 540. 540. Thank you both Shivani and Chantilly. So if you're like this, we're gonna take this and subtract by half to get to 0. So it's not moving the world in physics sense, it's transforming the world positions to screen. The screen positions. Yeah. Okay, so starting here, I put you back wherever it wants to be, like over there. Okay, so this is 1920 divided in half. What would that be? Like 10, half of 1920? 810, thank you. So you're 810 by 540. So I want to take you and subtract to get to 0, 0. That's our first thing. Oh, 960. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to just do math to figure it out. So I'm not going to like hard code that in. So in our camera, we push transform our destination. We want this to in the end be 0, 0. Because we're starting from the upper left. So the camera position is 1920 and a half by this. So I want to take its position. So dereferenced, wrapped camera position, borrow dot x. I don't need a dereference here if I'm getting that. And I want to subtract half of the width. So that's going to be, this is dereferenced, wrapped camera width dot borrow. And then for the y, it's the same thing. So it's the wrapped camera position, borrow dot y minus dereferenced, wrapped camera height, borrow. So that sets it to 0, 0 essentially to begin with. So that's fine. I forgot that I'm setting this camera to pan. Then so everything is sort of like expected, right? At this point, you're starting up there in the top left. That's the camera position. Where's our level start? You're starting at 150. And maybe like, let's do like 200 now. Do I see you? No, you're off screen. You're off screen. It's top left. No, that's the camera position because it's not dropping. There's 2 green dots, but one of them is off screen now. So I shifted wrong. And like this is where I'm keep on confusing myself with how I want to do this. This ball should be like down here. But instead it's like probably back here or up here. In the end, this should be zeros, right? Oh, you're right. I did full, not half. Divided by 2. Divided by 2. Okay, half. Okay, so here's the center of the camera. There's our ball that's starting there. Okay, that's fine. Then if the camera starts panning to the right, so the camera's velocity is like 1.0, like nice slow movement to the right. That's moving to the left. And I want that. So everything is sort of like, this is moving like this. When in reality, I want it to make it look like the camera's moving to the right. So that should be moving to the left as it drops down. So this is that minus like the reverse, like they multiply it by -1 that I did. So I multiplied you by -1. So times -1.0. And then subtract that. No, that's wrong. Now nothing shows on there anymore. Okay, so Or I just like want a negative version of this. As it moves, as it pans through, so I just want like this entire thing, calculate you, and then multiply you by -1. Is that what I want? No. That still does the same thing. I want to take that. So we're taking the width and the height of here. So we're taking the position of this. So this is the world position of like the player, let's say. So this is one of the green dots. And then the other green dot I want to be like the center of the camera. Is here. So right now, I'm trying to move the camera to the right, but all I'm end up doing is just translating everything, like the entire, like everything over to the right like this. And I don't want that. I want to translate everything to the left. So that's taking... We take our position, so this, and we subtract half of the width, which brings us to this point, and then it moves over like this. This number increases, so now this is like, I don't know, 850. We take this and subtract half of the width. And that should be here, right? Do I have to do more pushes? Like... I think I would have to do more. Yeah, and this is the thing which I know like I'm so sorry it's be like I'm just not getting it. Even though I probably should, especially since I did it before and you helped me out that time too. It's oh yeah, so the wrapped camera position would be something like this. This is like that's the position in the center of the camera. And then the width is the width of the camera. And then the height of the camera. So that's what I have those. And then I can like borrow to get inside of them to get the values. Those are fixed values. Yes, the camera is a fixed size. So it's like its position. Now the width is the position is changing as we're adding we've given a velocity to this camera. So the camera is like moving to the right through the world like this. It's fine. This stuff isn't necessarily intuitive. I can imagine that it's pretty hard to teach via chat. Yeah, definitely. I do have to get to work too. That's true. What? I was really hoping I can get like this part working. So you're 850. So this has shifted over to the right. So it's like this in a world now. Meaning everything gets shifted. The translation needs to shift to the left. Like we first subtract by half of this and half of that to get to this position right here. So I guess I mean, is it It's still moving to the right though. Indicating the camera is like shifting to the left. The object, so our object, oh, the player is moving. Oh, hold on. I wanted the camera to have a velocity. Oh, wait. I think you're right. I think I gave the velocity to the wrong one. I want the player not to be falling, and I want the camera to be moving to the right. Did I just like update the wrong one and now I've been like confusing myself because of that? No, I generally don't think about that. Okay, so what did we learn here, everyone? That when setting the velocity on the thing that you're expecting to, set it on the correct entity and not the other entity. Just a thought, like it might be helpful. So if I set this to 1920, let's do the like at 2000 and at 0. So our camera won't be able to see it, and then it will be able to see it. So we're moving to the right, and there it is. We pass it. It's falling down. As far as it's concerned, that's falling straight down. But our camera is moving to the right at a fixed rate, and so we see it moving like this. As Einstein said, everything is relative between the camera and the player. Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Why did that take me so long? Okay. All right, I'm glad I was able to get the camera moving. So that's cool. Oh my gosh. I'm closing all this up. Let's go ahead. What should we do today? So we got we have a camera panning to the right with the player falling straight down. All right, so I'm gonna push that up, and that should still be good. Everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. I am gonna have to do an emergency stream shutdown because I have to go to work in like 5 minutes. So with that, thank you everybody so much for stopping by. I'll see you next time, which will be Sunday morning. Sometime between around 8:30 and 9 is usually when I start those, and those are usually longer streams. So I'll see you then. With that, have a good one, everybody. Bye.